Hello and welcome back to Alternate Ending, where we are still discovering good movies, one bad movie at a time. I am your host for this week, Brennan Klein, here to once again lead us unto the breach of the cinema of the upcoming month. We're doing our September movie preview. And with me are two familiar voices. We have Caleb Wimble with us today. How are you, Caleb?
I'm good and trying really hard not to sing the first bars of Wake Me Up When September Ends as a bit of a preview for this list.
I wish summer had come and passed. It is so fucking hot here.
Yeah.
But yeah, Brian Fowler is also with us today. How are you, Brian?
Doing good, thank you. How are you doing, Brennan?
You know what? It's been a long time since Alternate Ending has started with a story, and I have a tiny, tiny, tiny one. I will say, so I go to this horror trivia event in Burbank pretty frequently. It's monthly, but I don't go every month. And it's like all of these like really intense horror nerds, and so I am trained. I have been my metal has been forged in that fire, and I went to a horror trivia event for normies last night, and it was kind of like Jeopardy style. They called up three people, and it was like a whole Jeopardy board thing. It was really, really fun. But I was creaming those normies, and I could feel the audience starting to hate me as it was going along.
Oh, no.
I could feel them starting to root for the underdog because I was doing too good at trivia.
So you were the monster?
I was the monster. I felt really bad. I did end up. So I won that round, but I lost the finals. So I that is my my gift to
Did
the
you
world
throw
is
it?
not being. No, I didn't. I will not say my opinions about the point system and how that works. But no, it was a lot of fun, and it is strange stumbling, especially for like, I mean, horror is my thing, but you know, anyone on Alternate Ending is very much in a movie sphere, and then when you find yourself like talking to someone who is not that up on movies, it's such a culture clash, fish out of water.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what is your deal?
And sometimes, honestly, in LA too, you will encounter people who are into movies, but into such different movies from you that there's like almost no sphere overlap whatsoever. And you haven't heard of half the things they're saying. They haven't heard of half the ones that you're saying, which is an interesting experience in itself.
Oh, very much. But that's a good segue because that's kind of, I think, the gap we try to bridge with this show. You know, we all have different things we're bringing to the table, different things we're interested in. Brian was a major player on consecutive episodes about Spider-Man and Bergman. So, you know, we've got a lot of breadth here. And speaking
My
of
favorite hero, Bergman.
Yeah.
he was bitten by a radioactive Berg. But
He's way bigger beneath the surface.
oh my goodness. But yes, we're going to do our movie roundtable. We're going to talk about movies or other things, other media objects we've seen recently. Brian, let's start with you and your shameful unmovie thing that you're bringing to the table. What is it?
Yes, I am actually bringing a TV miniseries to the table here.
Well, Letterboxd allows it, so I think we have to allow it.
It did. I reviewed it on Letterboxd. I revisited the 2023 Netflix anime original Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. I've actually, in the last week or so, I reread all 6 volumes of Scott Pilgrim, rewatched Scott Pilgrim versus the World, revisited the anime. It's the first time I'd watched the series since it dropped. I watched it like immediately when it came out. And I don't know if either of you have seen it.
Yep. Yeah, I liked it quite a bit.
Okay, that's good. And I know that I need to. It's just that whenever like a big sequel-y, spin-off-y thing is announced and then it turns out it's animated, I kind of lose interest instantly.
Oh, Brennan. Speaking of alternate ending divergences.
I know, and not because
thing is
animation is a bad medium, but because I think that most like IP franchises, when they have an animated spin-off, it's almost always bad. But I've heard great things, and tell me more.
Well, for one thing, I think Scott Pilgrim as a property fits animation significantly better than it does live action.
That makes sense.
Because, I mean, it's based on a comic book that is heavily influenced by manga, by video games, by anime. And the thing, though, about Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, and it's 2.5 years, more than 2.5 years old, so I'm going to tread kind of lightly on spoilers, but not completely avoid them, because otherwise you can really only talk about the first episode. But it's 8 episodes, ends up being, I think, just a touch over 3 hours. But it's not a retelling of the comic books or the movie. It goes in a radically different direction at the end of the first episode, and it ends up being more of a story about Ramona Flowers than it is Scott Pilgrim, at least for most of the run of the series. But it has just gorgeous animation, wonderful character designs, which are based on the graphic novels, but not slavishly so. They've been updated, they've been retooled a bit. Particularly Lucas Lee is a giant now. He's like the biggest man on earth in this anime. But so it, as much as I love the original comics, in a lot of ways they are very 2004 to 2010. In some ways that aren't great. Like, there's a lot of Scott's kind of casual homophobia that runs through them, with constantly defending, I'm not gay. My roommate, that's my cool gay roommate. Just constantly. There's a lot of use of like the R slur that shows up in the comics. A lot of stuff that you could get away with in 2006 that you can't in 2026. That, and I think the anime in a lot of ways shows that Brian Lee O'Malley has grown up since he wrote these books in his 20s. And it's a much more mature take on the toxicity of the title character and of Ramona. It deals much more directly with becoming better people. And I think it definitely has the perspective of, hey, this was made by a dude in his 40s now, talking about 20-year-olds, instead of a clueless 20-year-old talking about what it was like to be a clueless 20-year-old. But some of the fight sequences are just spectacular. Like, there's a fight between Ramona and Roxy in a video store where they keep getting sucked into old movies. And they're fighting, all of a sudden they're fighting on a train. Now they're fighting in an airplane during World War II. And it's a blast. And I think because it is not an adaptation of the comics, it's kind of a alternate universe take, kind of a sequel. And then there's also a sequel video game to it, Scott Pilgrim EX or X. And I think it's really, really fun, and I think it adds to the story in a way adaptations rarely do. And Caleb, you said you'd seen it.
Yeah, and I really did appreciate the degree to which it is one of those remakes or reboots that is secretly a sequel or reimagining, or a sequel that is secretly, a complete reimagining of the original. I think it's in conversation in the best and most interesting ways. And I was not a huge fan of the original like you, and I liked it. I liked the comics. I liked the oh gosh, I'm the Wright. It's Wright who directs the movie, right?
Edgar Wright?
Yes, Edgar Wright.
Edgar Wright. Thank you. Yes, I like the Edgar Wright movie quite a bit, but I did not like. I know so many people who just adore that film or adore the comics. That was like their totemic cultural item at the time. And yeah, exactly. That wasn't me, but I appreciated them, and I really enjoyed actually the animated flourishes in the film. And so I think having, an animated series that can really lean into that element of the comics, the liveliness, the punching through frames. If I'm not mistaken, like Studio Saru, or now Science Saru, supervised a lot of the animation, right? Yes. Masaki Yuasa's studio. And that's catnip for me. I think Masaki Yuasa and his folks, they're just like the most interesting team in feature animation today. Every film is pushing the boundaries in some way. Near the beginning of his career with Mind Game and Inuo in recent years, that are just, I think, masterpieces of playful experimentation and style. And I haven't seen the Scott Pilgrim show since it aired, but it's more subdued than those, right? But still very lively and fluid and kind of toyetic in motion.
Yeah, it's not quite as innovative and over the top as their own original work, but it's just gorgeously done.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so nice to watch anything colorful these days.
Oh my God,
Because,
yeah.
modern movies and television outside of animation have just decided color is, a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
Color isn't real, Brian.
Some
Yes,
of
yes.
today's
I look
features
out my
accept
window,
it.
everything's brown.
Yeah, we've got that persistent southern sludge.
Yeah, no thank you to that. And also, if you want to hear more about Scott Pilgrim, listen to the most recent episode of Your Movie Rocks with Mandy Albert. Very Scott Pilgrimy month here. That was, something you're supposed to do on a podcast, which I remembered when I was listening to a podcast recently, is that once you're done talking about a title, you say it again. That's Scott Pilgrim Takes Off.
Mm.
In case
Yes.
somebody missed it, and I never do this, but every time I'm listening to a podcast and someone mentions a movie and says it's great, I'm like, wait, what was it called? So I'm gonna
Especially if they've
try.
been talking about it for like 10 minutes, and then you're like, please name the thing again.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try to do that, and it may only last for this episode, and we might not even reach the end of me accomplishing this. But I'm trying to remember for everyone's sake. Um,
Yes. Scott
but
Pilgrim Takes Off on Netflix.
Hell yeah. And I'm going to be testing myself immediately because I am bringing to the table The End of Oak Street, the new adventure movie from David Robert Mitchell, who made It Follows and then followed that with Under the Silver Lake and vanished into the ether for
Mm-hmm.
the better part of a decade. And now he's back with this splashy, popcorny movie about Anne Hathaway and Ewan McGregor as a bickering married couple with two, like a teenage daughter and like a preteen son. Their entire house, street, and neighborhood, Oak Street, and its environs, for through various machinations that are half explained and don't really matter, get sent back in time to to a prehistoric jungle, and their neighborhood is then beset by dinosaurs. This is, it's a sci-fi adventure movie. I I enjoyed it. I enjoyed sitting through it. I think that the characters are really dumb. It can be hard to watch them make decisions a lot of the time. They love grabbing an inadequate weapon before facing off against a dinosaur. But there's this sequence where the boy, played by Christian Convery from Sweet Tooth and Cocaine Bear, he loves his dog so much, and he sees the dog, and he goes running off in the middle of the night to find the dog, in the middle of Dino Town, and he's just
Where like all their neighbors are being ripped to pieces in front of their eyes.
oh yeah, constantly. Every time we see an outdoor shot, someone is being devoured by a dinosaur in the background. So he's running around screaming the dog's name, and then the teenage daughter chases him screaming his name, and then the parents chase them screaming their names. And the fact that these people aren't devoured in the first 5 minutes of this happening is honestly shocking. And I don't know, like it wasn't what I thought it was going to be or what I hoped it could be in a lot of ways. I was kind of thinking it was going to be a little bit about the community, and it's very much not. It is about the
Yeah.
family with a few supporting characters that pop up now and again in picaresque kind of ways. And then I also thought it was going to be at least a little bit of a survival movie. And I don't mean like surviving
Mhm.
dinosaurs, because that's the thing that they're doing, but more about like, how are we going to get food and water? How do we get supplies? How are we going to acquire weapons? It's just not
Yeah,
interested
yeah.
in that.
Yeah, really. It was surprising. Nobody ever like makes a spear out of anything,
Yeah.
like a dinosaur bone or something.
I know. I just it should have it could have been more exciting in that way, or at least that's what I would have wanted out of it for a more textured experience. But to be fair, like it this is not a spoiler. Just it takes place on a very short timeline. We're watching like a couple days of these people's lives, so it doesn't
Yeah, yeah.
get far enough to really force them to worry about those kinds of things. And for what it is, I think it was pretty engaging. It was pretty fun. I do like that the dinosaurs are feathered. It's one of the
Mhm.
rare, maybe the like big budget dinosaur movie that actually has feathered dinosaurs in it. And yeah, Caleb, I know you saw it. What are your thoughts on the end of Oak Street?
So I overall enjoyed it. I thought it started out very slow and then had like a really dynamic and exciting midsection with a lot of good thrill scenes, a lot of shockingly gory ones for a PG-13
Oh yes.
picture. One of the bloodiest PG-13 movies I've seen in a very long time, I think. And in terms of like limbs being pulled apart on camera, albeit at something of a distance, typically, like fountains of gore coming out. Oh, that'll be a recurring theme today. But and then I think like it's really sustained my attention and interest throughout the midsection, and some very surprising things do happen.
I agree.
And then
There were two
we get
major
treated.
like surprise moments.
Yes, and the first of those, I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't think we were going to go there. Cool. I'm down with this. And the second major one, which is like most of the last act, the ending of this movie is such an incredible disaster of screenwriting. I was like in awe, like, wow, this is some real classic, probably, I assume, executive meddling to completely reshoot a new ending at the last minute, which it turns out that is true from what I was told this morning on our own alternate ending Discord, where people were
Oh.
talking about, yeah, there was a different ending planned originally, and then changed to be much more upbeat and friendly family in a way that is not at all. Actually, could we do a 2-minute spoiler warning and just talk about that real quick? Is that okay? If we say
Yes, but I will
Hard to
set
make
a
you bark.
timer for 2 minutes.
okay,
I don't think it's an. I mean, it is a spoilable movie. It has surprises, it has
uh-huh.
twists and turns, but I don't think it's a movie that needs to have spoilers avoided. But yeah, if you want to avoid spoilers, skip ahead 2 minutes, and I will shut Caleb up after two
Thank you.
minutes to make that accurate. Okay, timer starting now.
Okay, I was having a good time once things started getting moving. And I think I could come back to this, but you were talking about expecting the movie to be about community in a lot of ways, especially from how the first act sets it up. And it turns out it has a very weird, wobbly relationship to like whether we care about any of these neighbors. And
Oh yeah.
sometimes people look out for each other, and other times they don't care at all. They're just letting you get completely destroyed when everybody's looking out for themselves, trying to maybe say something about isolated Americans in and our survivalist tendencies and fantasies. Then the end of this movie, in which we leap through a portal to get back to present day, but and we are Sans Ewan McGregor at this point. He's been torn apart, valiantly saving his family from an Allosaurus or something, and the rest of his family gets back to the present day, but wouldn't you know it, they're actually like 20 minutes before the quantum bubble or wormhole opens and takes the entire neighborhood back in time. So what does Anne Hathaway do? She runs to a payphone and begins collect calling her favorite people to save them from this horrible fate. And that includes her husband, who is not dead yet because they've gone back 20 minutes here. You know what it does not include is herself and her children, who are in this timeline 15, 20 minutes
Mhm.
ago,
Okay, 30
whom she
seconds.
doesn't want to have. She decides she doesn't want duplicates of them here. So she opts to steal her alternate timeline husband from herself and her kids and send her remaining alternate family, her original family, back in time to their almost certain deaths without Ewan McGregor, completely unprepared. And we even have confirmation in the scene after that yeah, there are duplicates of another character who's with their family for a good while here. It is such a horrific thing that she does, like this really
Okay, and no more
And that's
spoilers,
it.
but you can keep
Yep.
talking about the vague in vaguer terms.
Sure. And in vague terms, the movie is just, it's so uninterested in grappling with the consequences of that or with the implications of it. And I had like 3 or 4 different endings in my mind. I'm like, oh, okay, we could get like a fun, dark stinger here, or, the last second reveal, the EC Comics way, the way, like, there's so many ways that you could have ended this that were not the one that they chose in such a baffling way. But you know what? It doesn't ruin the movie. It just knocked it down like a whole half star for me. I think this is still a fun, good dinosaur romp time. It's kind of targeted towards families, but parental discretion on how much you want to scar your 6-year-olds. Like, I'm all for that, but go in accordingly, knowing this movie gets pretty dark in isolated moments.
Yeah, that is definitely true. But no, it is still it's a bit edgy, but it's still kind of like a
Yeah,
fizzy late summer throwaway kind of movie.
Yes,
And
especially the ending they chose for the
well,
theatrical.
yeah. And that is the end of Oak Street. Caleb, what movie are you bringing to the table today?
So speaking of fantastically splashy gore fest, I guess will be the lingering thread between them, and Brian's paying to color in films. I'm bringing Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma, which is the new extremely meta slasher film by Jane Schunbrunn of Everybody's Gone to the World's Fair. And I saw the TV Glow, which was one of my favorite films of 2024. That was 24, right?
I think so.
It's been 2 years
so?
since we saw one of their joints in here. Yeah. This one is very much in the I saw the TV Glow camp of reappraising a lot of formative media for Schunbrunn. And that begins with a heavy slasher concept here. This movie is difficult to give a plot synopsis for, but in large part, the non-meta plot is sort of a fusion of Sunset Boulevard with Sleepaway Camp and then a sprinkling of your favorite 80s slashers in there. And the movie will make regular call outs of those connections and instances. So we have Hannah Einbinder, who folks will probably best know from Hacks on HBO, I think. She plays a young, up and coming queer director of some out there personal projects who has been tasked by a major studio with rebooting this extremely long running and repeatedly already rebooted slasher series, the Camp Miasma series that were extremely important and formative to her when she was young. And the movie opens with, I think, one of its absolute best sequences, which is this splashy montage, both of like original footage of the making of the first Camp Miasma film, then footage from within the film with Little Death, the slasher villain, who is sort of like this you know, your classic Jason-ish type figure with a large metallic box forehead, very much evoking like Pyramid Head from Silent Hill, and then we see a montage throughout the history of this series and how it was huge and lost its way up to the present day. And we learned about its reclusive star who declined to return from some of the sequels. That is Gillian Anderson playing. Well, you know what? The character names are just going to get more confusing here, so I'm just going to refer to it as Einbinder and Anderson for the two. Gillian Anderson is playing an extremely Gloria Swanson from Sunset Boulevard character as this now like long reclusive actress who from the original films, hiding out at the original camp on which the movies were shot. Einbinder comes there trying to convince her to star to cameo in the reboot, and then quickly Einbinder decides no, she should be the star of the reboot as she begins to fall in love with this this actor and with the sexual energy that and freedom that is coming off of Gillian Anderson's character, while Hannah Einbind's character, it has like all these tensions and hangups and disconnection and frequent dissociations from her own sexual identity, like related to a lot of these early childhood experiences, and she sort of experiences her sexuality through these movie memories. And things get much weirder from there. Things escalate to become, as you would guess from the trailers if you've seen them, that the movies begin to bleed into reality and into the present day of the camp in really pronounced ways. There will be an enormous amount of stylized blood and gore. Unfortunately, and this is, I think, the weakest aspect of the movie, probably for budgetary limitations, they opt for like very cheap CGI special effects and gore in this one, which just don't fit the 80s slasher vibe. You want that lo-fi DIY practical effects look for any of that, and that's the one element that feels really out of place, even when they're matching like camera tones and emulating the film stock and the mise-en-scène of these films and the way the sets might feel like really, really well. I haven't mentioned that this film is really, really, really fucking funny. Like it gets there's some like riotous lines in this. There's, I think, one of the most ludicrous scenes is Gillian Anderson serving this KFC meal in the most erotic way that you can possibly serve and eat fried chicken, like gross and erotic.
Oh yeah, in like a silver platter piled with chicken.
Yes, lingering camera shots, the close-ups of the grease on their fingers as they're tearing those apart, and seeing the lips up at that angle. And this film is also like you, much like Sunset Boulevard, we're getting some not airbrushed close-ups of Gillian Anderson and all her, I don't know, is she like 60 years old now, or 62 or something, year old glory, and she is just magnetic in this performance, and playing this washed out star who actually has like this incredible vitality still to her, and has a lot to teach this up and coming artist generation. The sort and there's a lot of ways in which Hannah Einbinder is easy to read as a self insert for Jane Schönbrunn. I don't know the extent to which that's true, other than that she is like that she has similar interests as a filmmaker, and in the exploration of queer and of trans identity, especially because the sleepaway camp transphobic elements and monstrous feminine of gender inversion, or whatever you want to call it, or the psycho like mode of horror filmmaking is a critical and central part of this film as well. So it very much is concerned with those themes, as strongly as It Saw the TV Glow was. Though this is a much more optimistic and upbeat and lighthearted film than I Saw the TV Glow. Brennan,
yeah,
what did you think?
Yeah, so I also saw Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma, which, let me tell you, if I never have to type that title again, I will be very happy. But yeah, I have not seen I Saw the TV Glow. It's something that's actually very, very soon coming up on my watch list, but I just have not gotten to it yet. I very much get the sense that movie is a like quote unquote elevated horror, a bit dour, like a bit more serious. So I was really, really surprised by how funny Camp Miasma is. Mm-hmm. I think it's really effectively funny. I think Gillian Anderson and Hannah Einbinder are both really, really good at nailing punchlines, but they're the ways that they interact dramatically and romantically are spellbinding. I think they're both terrific. And I really, really like the way that Jane Schönbrunn kind of does dissect the textual elements of slasher films. I think the way that they work those into the conversations that these characters are having and the overarching arc of the themes of the plot work really, really well. That said, I do think that the horror film, slasher film pastiche that we get multiple scenes from the fictional movie Camp Miasma that is being rebooted. I do agree. I do think aesthetically, in terms of film stock, in terms of character design and costume design and production design, that's all very accurate, but I think it is an outstandingly ungreat slasher pastiche.
Sure, yeah.
Like it doesn't function as a movie. When you're looking at these clips, you're just like, this isn't how this would be. This isn't even possible. There's no way this is a feature film that somebody watched 40 years ago.
Maybe a part. It feels like a part 2 or part 3 of many of those series. Maybe like in terms of the script.
Maybe. I think it's an incredibly dysfunctional faux movie, which, given the amount of time that we spend with it, is kind of damaging. But like I said, I really like what this movie is doing with the concept of slashers in general. Though that said, Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma is not a slasher movie. It presents you with slasher movie scenes. It's not a slasher movie. I don't think I'd even call it a horror movie. And I think that what it is quite good, but definitely don't go in expecting a horror thing, even knowing the kind of elevated horror sphere that Jane Schönbrunn has kind of worked in before.
Sure. I mean, I went in expecting that from the trailers, and I was more like, originally, I think it plays with those expectations in fun ways, like especially towards towards the end, or even towards the
Mm.
middle, and what you're expecting that Gillian Anderson's character might be, and how we are
Uh-huh.
set up to treat her kind of person in these films. So I think the expectation is being played with deliberately in that
Yeah.
way, at least in how the marketing was presented. But
No, I think that's fair. I think it's a dark romance and it's a dark comedy, both of which are using horror imagery to further their themes.
yeah. Mhm.
And it's very much there. Like I think that the gore that we are presented is so over the top that it even squeamish people would not be put off by it. It is very
Exactly.
much
Yeah.
cartoonish, and to that end, I think like I wasn't bothered by the CGI of it all, especially because I was already not really believing the slasher scenes.
Sure.
Um,
I just think
yeah,
it would have been more fun to have, like, those rubbery effects and like geysers of stage blood instead of animated blood. But
yeah.
it certainly doesn't ruin the movie by any stretch.
Yeah, no, very fair. And yeah, I do think as many of these movies are wont to do, the movie rockets up its own ass in the third act. Like there's quite a bit of it
Oh,
where I'm like, okay, we can calm down a little bit with our like
sure.
incredibly sweaty like
David
uh
Cronenberg's Videodrome esque flesh layers and
yeah, there's stuff going on. But overall, I found it very aesthetically pleasing, very funny. I had a good time. Excuse me. And I tend to not with a lot of modern slasher pastiche, both on the screen and on the page. So I was excited by this. And that, yeah. Were you gonna say something, Brian?
Yeah, I just want to say, the movie opened its first weekend on 5 screens. This past weekend, as we're recording, it was on 54 screens.
mm.
So basically, I hate you guys who live in LA
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
because I
Sorry.
really,
Yeah.
really want to see this movie.
Yeah, and
More
I
people
think it's
should
I
be able
don't
to.
know if it'll play here. I don't know if it'll play here at all because I don't know how wide it's actually opening.
yeah, I do not know because it's being put up by Mubi. I mean, they did the substance and they
Right.
like made a big thing out of that, but I don't know
Yeah, like I said,
that.
I don't know if it's going to make it to middle of nowhere, mid northern Michigan or
Yeah.
not.
Which is a shame, because this is a movie that loves a crowd. And I don't know about your audience, Brendan, but mine could not have been like hooting and hollering more and more invested in the absurd register of this thing. Like, this is a movie that loves that crowd energy and participation in all the excesses and the little in jokes. And sometimes people will laugh at something and suddenly that causes it to click for you what a certain joke was doing in multiple layers. But yeah, it's I hope more people can see it.
Yeah. But presumably it will be on Mubi relatively soon. So even if you can't see it in
Yeah.
theaters, I think it's worth checking out if you were,
Host a slumber party.
yeah, a slumber party massacre. But yeah, if you're in any way interested in slashers, I think it's an interesting uh metatextual discussion of them. And that is Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma. And let's move on into our September preview. We're looking ahead at the films of the coming month. I don't think we need to spend a lot of time on all of these movies. There's actually quite a bit coming to wide release in September, but we'll see if any of it's particularly interesting. First, we have our first of two midweek releases. This one's coming in ahead of Labor Day, I think it's taking advantage of Labor Day. September 2nd on a Wednesday, we are getting Fall 2: Dead Point. Have either of you seen Fall? Are you interested in the sequel?
No to both.
No, I never made a point to see Fall. Did you?
I saw Fall. I loved Fall.
Okay.
It's like a 7 out of 10 movie, but it's such a nail biter of a movie. I was really swept
Wow.
up. I saw it completely alone in 100-degree heat. Like I was in an AMC with air conditioning, but I was sweating through my shirt, both because of the summertime of it all, but also because of the movie that I was watching. Because I was just like, "Holy shit, this is terrifying." Um,
Okay.
and
That's a good sell.
yeah, no, Fall. I think it is a super underrated survival thriller. I think the best part is them climbing up the tower, where it kind of
Hmm.
plays very much like a Final Destination movie, where you're seeing a lot of things that are wrong, but you don't know exactly what's going to go wrong that leaves them stranded up there.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I think that's the best part. But as a whole, Fall's a very fun movie. But Fall to Dead Point, it's about like the sister of one of the main characters from the. It's one of the sequels that's a remake.
Sure. Yeah.
And this one, they're really trying to expand the scope of what it is. They're like, now they're getting down off a mountain, but now they're if they're not stuck on a little TV tower platform with nothing except what they brought with them, like that's what I want. Like I don't need just mountaineers mountaineering. That seems like a misunderstanding to me of what the first movie was or what it was doing. But I'll probably see it. I don't love heights, and this seems to be playing with that as well.
You've sold me with the Final Destination on a cliff face for the first one. I will definitely check that out then.
Yes, I highly recommend Fall. This one, yeah, I don't know. And also the Spierig brothers are directing this one. They made Jigsaw, which I don't hate, but they also made Winchester, which is maybe the worst possible version of what a movie about the Winchester Mystery House could have been.
Wow.
So I don't know that I'm eager for them to tackle Fall. But speaking of auteur genre directors, September 4th, we are getting Onslaught, the new movie from Adam Wingard. How are we feeling about this one?
I feel like I way too often say, well, I don't know if I'm just reacting to a good or bad trailer or if I'm reacting to the idea of the movie.
Okay.
But the latest trailer for this one was really good, like really well edited. It had like a lot of punchiness to it, little bit of just enough camp to make me feel like it's in a good register. I'm kind of excited about this one, or at least, I think I'll book my AMC A-list tickets free of charge.
Yeah. What's the risk? What about you, Brian?
Yeah.
I still have the instinctual rejection of anything that's kind of sort of horror and says A24 on it these days.
Okay.
This does not look like an A24 though, does it?
It doesn't, but it had the A24 logo, which immediately put me on my back foot. But there was a shot in the trailer when they're introducing the three whatever they are that I swear to God, before when it was zoomed in tight and you couldn't see anything but like the lower half of his face. It looked at him putting on a coat. It looked exactly like Batman in the nightmare sequence from Justice League. Which
sure.
Immediately put raised hackles on me. But otherwise, I mean, I don't know that I will go see it. If reviews are good, I'll probably watch it eventually.
Yeah. No, this is probably a movie I'll catch up with before the end of the year for sure. But there's the thing that put me off about the trailers is because it's about like a woman who's a traumatized war veteran or something to that effect, and she has a kid, and she's defending the kid from these like escaped super soldiers who have gotten out,
like Nazi zombie super soldiers, right?
I don't know about that specifically. I have not seen the more detailed trailer, I guess.
Okay, because Dan Stevens is playing like a like almost cartoonish level Nazi scientist named Hans Kammler, and like talking about the creation of these unkillable supermen.
Okay,
so that's not what you expect from an A24 horror film is Nazi super soldier zombies, I think.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, it seems like action horror, but it's like this woman fighting against super soldiers, and I'm just like, okay, this is The Guest. Why isn't this The Guest 2? Like Dan Stevens is in it. There's super soldiers. Yeah. It felt weird to me that Adam Wingard's just returning to this well, and it's not acknowledging that really.
He can't make another like monstery slashery thriller in a similar but different vein after. I really like The Guest personally.
The Guest is incredible, and this looks like The Guest.
Sure.
So, and it feels like a bad remake of The Guest to me, but I'm willing to allow it to be exciting.
There was also a shot in the trailer, early in the trailer, where you see the three of them way in the distance, just basically in silhouette. But I thought, is this like a stealth remake of The Strangers?
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it is.
Because that one shot looked so much like the trailer for The Strangers.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, like I said, if the reviews are solid or better, I like horror. I'll probably end up watching it, but probably when it's on a streaming service.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, also that weekend,
And
September 4th. Sorry, we're gonna say something, Caleb?
oh yeah, I was just gonna say, is it Adria Arjona or Arjona? I don't actually know.
Um,
Uh,
I've never heard her say it, but I think it's Adria Arjona.
Adria Arjona, she was excellent in Andor, primarily the thing I know her from. So, and I think she was in Hitman as well, but I don't think was a huge part. I am interested to see her carry a film like this and see how she does in it. And of course, I always enjoy Dan Stevens' larger than life villainous
Oh yeah,
parts. So yeah,
that's
so
the
the actors have
sell.
me on it.
But yes, also on September 4th, we are getting By Any Means. It's a based on it's a historical drama, historical action thriller about like people trying to fight the KKK by teaming up with a mobster. The mobster played by noted hate crimer Mark Wahlberg.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
And the other guy is Yahya Abdul Mateen II, who consistently deserves better than what he gets.
Yeah.
Yes, this is
You know,
true.
this is my thought coming out of the trailer is somebody decided that Green Book should be an action movie.
Ha! Yes, that's
Oh, see,
exactly
I was
what
like,
it is.
to me immediately the first half of the trailer, I'm like, is this just Black Klansman again? Like it
Oh,
looked
yeah,
like it
yeah.
was
Oh,
the
I
same
can see
film for a
that,
good
yeah.
while there, but
Yeah, I can
the
see where
Spike
you're
Lee
coming
joint.
from with that. Although I'm pretty confident it's not going to be as good a movie as Black
Mm.
Klansman. I
I would
feel fairly
assume
confident
not.
in that.
Not with Mark Wahlberg headlining, I don't think.
Yes.
And
But hey, at
also,
least it's not just this year's generic Mark Wahlberg movie. It's a little bit different than what he's been doing for the last decade.
yeah, that's true.
Sure, sure, yeah.
He does have some flesh-colored Play-Doh on his face. He's acting in this one.
Yes. Which he hasn't done in a while, so good for him.
No.
Yeah, I guess so. So
Yeah,
is that three no's for By Any Means?
Nah.
unless the reviews are shockingly good, that's a no for me.
Yeah. And also, I mean, so Tom and Jerry Tom and Jerry Forbidden Compass, this animated movie is coming out.
Uh-huh.
What?
What in the fuck is this movie?
Why does it look and sound like a fever dream imagination of a children's animated film? Is this AI generated?
Yeah, I was so confused watching the trailer for this.
Yeah. Like what am
Why
I
is
seeing?
this a Tom and Jerry movie?
There
Like, this movie looks like somebody had a script for some generic kids movie.
Uh-huh.
Like, oh, that'll never sell. Let's slap some 40s cartoon icons in it.
Well, yeah, there is weird shit going on in the Tom and Jerry franchise, but most of that shit is kept out of theaters. Like that Willy Wonka
Yeah.
thing that they did.
And they did 2 Wizard of Oz movies.
Yeah. But it's just like, get this thing away from me. Why are you like shoving it in my face in theaters like this?
Was the Tom and Jerry movie from a few years ago successful?
Oh, I don't think so.
I don't think so, no.
I didn't think so either, but it's like, how are they back in theaters?
Also, what is with this director has no other credits whatsoever on IMDb. How do you go to helm a major animated? Well, I don't know about major. How do you go to helm a theatrical animated feature without any prior animated experience? Or like, what is going on here? Who's funding this? Who made it? Like,
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
I assume Warner Brothers, but
right? They okay. Wait, this is is this movie made in China?
I am looking at this right now. Yeah, it
is
produced by China Film Company Limited and Warner Brothers Pictures.
Yeah, and the original title is Chinese, actually.
Yeah, the original title is Chinese. It's directed by someone named Zhang Gong. Yeah, this is a Chinese movie that licensed Tom and Jerry and is masquerading like as a major Hollywood release.
Weird.
Why?
How does this happen? I guess the Hanna-Barbera is just that desperate to sell the property at this point.
Well, I mean, we know Hanna-Barbera is owned now by Warner Brothers.
Yeah, who could not make
We're
money
in the
off
process
this,
of
as you
maybe or maybe not being sold. depending on what happens with lawsuits, to Paramount. But what? Why? What in the fuck is this movie?
Yeah,
bad, I think.
To see it. I'm almost tempted to see it just because it makes so little sense. But I also don't think I actually want to see it.
Yeah, no,
I'm
why
gonna
would
watch
you?
it in Cantonese with
Yeah,
English
that might be
subtitles.
fun. That might put it more in context.
At least it'll feel classier. It's a subtitled foreign film.
Yeah. But yeah, so that is that. But actually, speaking of, we are getting a major international play on September 9th, another midweek release. We are getting Hope, which is the new sci-fi thriller from director Na Hong Jin, who made The Wailing, which I have not
The
seen, but I
Wailing.
know is huge for people.
It's so good. Oh, Brennan, you got to see The Wailing.
I know.
That's one of those like of the decade horror movies.
Yeah, it is probably my biggest recent blind spot in the last like 10 years for horror. Um, but yeah, this is like a big budget, splashy. Like they are trying to make a movie that is going to play in America, and to that end, they have cast some English speaking actors in it. In addition to the South Korean cast, we have Michael Fassbender, Alicia Vikander, and Taylor Russell, America's favorites. The skies are dark because all the stars are in Na Hong Jin's Hope. But yeah, I don't know. It looks really bad, actually. I don't think it looks good to me at all.
I don't know if it looks
So
bad to me, but so go ahead, Brian.
I thought it looked fun, but also it kind of looked like they were fighting the rodents of unusual size.
Oh, yeah. This is like an
Like
alien
a big budget
invasion
version of the of Princess Bride's rodents of unusual size. But no, I thought it looked like it might be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm hopeful. Though I admit, despite adoring The Wailing, I never got around to Na Hong Jin's other joints, so I have no idea what the consistency is there, or if it was like a one hit wonder kind of situation. But I will probably go to see this, so I'll find out.
Yeah, no, and please let me know because full disclosure, I have seen a longer sustained clip from this movie at Comic-Con because I was at the Hope panel.
Okay.
And it just feels like a very generic action movie to me, which I
That's a
think
shame.
is what they're trying to make. And I can see this going into the same garbage can that other like movies with major foreign money went in the US, like that Anthony Mackie movie, Desert Warrior, that came out this year, or The Great Wall with Matt Damon, or what was there was another one that the King's Daughter or whatever, that mermaid movie with Pierce Brosnan. This
You
just
could be
feels
making
like
half of these up, and I would just believe you.
this feels like that to me, just a movie that was designed to play in the States and is just gonna fall on its face. And I think this is maybe the best director we've gotten on a movie like this. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping there's something there. I have hope.
Oh.
But anyway, on September 11th, we have sorry, I just can't. I'm not going to make a joke, but we have Practical Magic 2, the belated sequel to the Nicole Kidman and Sandra Bullock kind of witchy cult favorite. Same deal with Fall. Have you seen Practical Magic? Do you care about this new sequel?
I have to confess, I am not a person who abandons movies. I tried to watch Practical Magic on a plane once and got about 15 minutes in, maybe, and rarely has a thing been less for me in such like I'm like, you know what? I have brought so many films with me. I turned off the plane screen and got out my phone and just watched one of my VLC shots on there. I did not care for it at all. But this actually, the trailer looks like, passably entertaining. What about you, Brian?
I have also never seen. I think I may have seen part of it when it was relatively new, but I'm just so confused why this movie exists too. It's a 28 years
Legacy.
later sequel to a movie that lost money, like
Yeah.
a movie that bombed at the box office in 1998. I
No,
don't know. It's kind of Blade Runner 2049, except you know,
Except
with a
where's
movie
the cult for practical magic?
Well,
yeah, exactly
I think
what I was going to say.
I
It's
do
not
think
nearly as beloved.
well, I don't know. I do think that practical magic has its fans. I think it has a
Mm,
sizable cult in the kind of hocus pocus or now and then family of fans. But I do
So you
think
said
that
Carrie's going to go see this.
oh, for sure, absolutely. But yeah, I've never seen Practical Magic either. It's just one of those '90s movies that I missed. Um, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like Hollywood's like, oh, Practical Magic has made so much money on home video and on rentals and all this stuff.
sure, sure.
We're gonna make this splashy sequel and spend too much money on it, and again lose money because if you make a sequel to a cult favorite, that just almost never really works.
Yeah.
At
Blade
least
Runner
financially.
2049 wasn't a hit.
No.
Tron, they've tried twice to.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
with
You know,
no-
what's most surprising is that it wasn't The Witches of Eastwick which got this treatment, because that to me seems much more like a movie that Hollywood would be interested in trying to do again, or do a legacy sequel with, Susan Sarandon and Michelle Pfeiffer or Veronica Cartwright. Like, and that's one where I'd actually be like, sure, I'll watch them like get into new shenanigans with Satan.
I will say the cast for this is good.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course.
I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
I mean, obviously, you're starting with Nicole Kidman as one of the two leads. So
Yeah, our best actress who can't do an American accent.
she's been trying for a very long time.
Yeah.
What's funny is she
God
also
bless
can't
her.
do an Australian accent anymore. She's gone into this in between place of living liminally
Yeah.
for so long.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Nicole Kidman accent at this point.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, they have Stockard Channing, Diane Wiest, and also Sandra Bullock.
Macy Williams.
Yeah, they're
Joey
adding Maisie
King.
Williams and Joey King and Lee Pace as a new kind of hot
Right.
weirdo.
I do love Lee Pace.
Yeah, no, he's great.
So yeah, it's an interesting cast. Of all the movies from 1998 to get a sequel,
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Practical Magic in 2026.
I mean, you know what? Why not? Power to them. I hope they do well for themselves, and
Yeah, I hope the
Yeah.
fans who love the original love this one too.
yeah, which would be great. Like no shade on Practical Magic. Also on September 11th, we're getting a new Paul Greengrass joint starring Andrew Garfield. It's called The Uprising, and it's about the everyone's favorite topic, the 1381 English Peasants' Revolt. Yeah.
You say that, I know, sardonically, Brennan, but I am exactly the kind of person who gets excited to hear the words 1381 English Peasants' Revolt film. Although this trailer looked kind of painfully generic in a lot of ways, that doesn't excite me. It just seems so by the numbers, stuffy costume movie about a period, but it's a period that I have enough fascination with, and the 14th century is a big writing and research and currently game design topic of mine that I've just been reading dozens and dozens of books on, and big history tomes on my desk. So I will be in theaters for this one, even if no one else is.
Great. No, I'm happy to have an informed person's opinion on this movie.
It gave me a lot of Braveheart vibes in the setup at the beginning of the trailer. And I like Andrew Garfield a lot.
Yeah.
My big
he's
problem
good.
is I kind of sort of completely, utterly fucking hate Paul Greengrass as a director. I think The Bourne Ultimatum is one of the worst successful movies ever made.
Really? Wow.
I hate The Bourne Ultimatum with the fiery passion of A Thousand Suns.
Wow. That was one
Because of the
those
directing and the editing more than anything else. I hate that movie. I hate the way that movie looks. I hate Paul Greengrass's whole thing. But I like Andrew Garfield, so I feel bad that I'm not going to see this.
Yeah, Andrew Garfield,
As a
I think, is
counterbalance.
maybe going to take a couple knocks this year, because isn't he in The Magic Faraway Tree also?
Oh, is right. He's the dad in that one.
Yeah, I think so.
Gosh.
That's the latest attempt to make Paddington happen again, and I do not
The
have
Bridge
faith.
Not to Terabithia.
That movie is like my most likely to get dropped from theatrical slate and go straight to streaming of the year release, I think.
Oh yeah. But the thing about the Uprising that it does not interest me enough to watch it, but Blumhouse has its sticky little fingers on this project. I saw the
Really?
BH logo before before the trailer.
Oh yeah.
I think they hopped on at a certain point after it had already gotten started, it looks like. But I'm
They're
like,
listed as the main production company. That's surprising. I wonder if that's true.
are
Let's
they?
see.
I think there's several.
Them and
going on.
Atomic
Yeah,
Monster.
Blumhouse Atomic
Yeah.
Monster have merged now. So
Okay.
they are just
But then it's
one
being
thing.
distributed by Focus Features in the US, not by
Yeah.
Blumhouse. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. They're not like it's not like a Blumhouse film, but they're in the mix, and that confuses me. Even though they step away from horror, but this feels very still an
It does go
unusual
outside
move.
their wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
But anyway, also on September 11th, of course, on this important day for Americans, Angel Studios had to rear its ugly head and shove yet another movie into theaters. This one, I believe, may not be specifically faith-based. This is one of those ones that they picked up because they think it will appeal to their conservative faith-based audience.
Uh,
It is an Alan Ritchson and Owen Wilson action comedy about they're trying to get a liver to a transplant patient, and also mercenaries are on their tail. Uh, Brian, what are we thinking?
Well, I loved this story in 1987 when it was a Flash comic book, and instead of a cartel, it was Vandal Savage.
Yeah, no, great point. What about you, Caleb?
That's all I've got.
I told myself I was going to exercise self-care in these film preview episodes and stop watching Angel Studios trailers. And you very helpfully marked this one as being Angel
Oh,
Studios
and that's why.
before. Thank you for that. I appreciate the warning there. So I was kind of surprised that it. Yeah. So you telling me that they just picked it up makes sense because it doesn't feel like an Angel Studios trailer. It feels like a weird early 2000s Owen Wilson comedy, like buddy
Yeah.
comedy, like, and it doesn't look good. Certainly the jokes in the trailer are bad, and the comic
Yes,
timing seems way
yes.
off. It's I'm not going to go see this movie, but it didn't cause intense suffering in me like as an Angel Studios trailer usually does.
hmm Uh,
And man,
mhm.
Alan Ritchson just continues to look like the biggest man on earth when he's
Oh,
around
he
regular
Oh
actors.
yeah. And would it interest you to learn that this was a blacklist script?
what is going on with that
Ooh,
recently? Like why do these like
what
terrible
the
films
hell,
terrible
me?
films keep being blacklist winners? Like who's
Well,
voting there?
the
Maybe
blacklist
the script was
likes
good at some point.
I don't know, but the blacklist likes a high concept. Like it's just like with the Oscars where they're nominating the most acting or whatever. Like the blacklist I feel like likes to praise like the most like elevator pitchy like log line movies possible.
Is
And
this even that? Like it's just
I
like it's
mean,
just a save a MacGuffin from a cartel
yeah.
movie, right?
it
I
Like
is,
mean,
but
that
there's
explains One Night Only. It doesn't explain Runner.
yeah, I don't know. But let's move it right along to September 18th. We're getting one kind of big movie in that
yeah.
frame. It's Zach Kreger's Resident Evil. After making
Woo!
wait, was that a woo or a boo?
No, that's a woo. I'm I'm I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm, I'm popping little New Year's poppers, throwing streamers in the air, like jingling some little bells over here.
Great. So you're excited. Are you excited because of the Zach Kreger, the Resident Evil, or both?
Both. Zach Krager, I have not like adored either of his films, but I had such a good time at Barbarian and Weapons, and I'm interested in his interest and his new angles on some of these things. What I've seen of this looks really promising. Both trailers I saw were quite promising. And Resident Evil is like possibly in the running for my favorite game series of all
Mm.
time. I would love to see somebody effectively capture what's good about those games in film format if it can be done. I don't think it needs to be done. And don't get me wrong, like many in the alternate ending community, I enjoy a lot about the absolutely terrible Anderson
Paul
Resident
W. S.
Evil
Anderson.
films, the Paul W. S. Anderson ones. They're awful in the best ways that movies can be awful and enjoyable and popcorny. But I want to see somebody successfully do this too. And I don't know, Brian, where were you on that, man?
Well, it has to be better than Welcome to Raccoon City,
I
which I
actually
realize I'm setting the bar very, very low with that.
I liked Welcome to
Brennan,
Raccoon
did you
City.
like that movie?
I think it's atmospheric. I like Johannes Roberts 50% of the time, and I think he did a good
Okay.
job with that one.
Okay. Well, to each their own. I did not like that movie. But, if we all liked the same thing, the world would be boring.
Mhm.
Like Welcome to Raccoon City was. But no, it's like, because the Paul W.S. Anderson, Yolovich movies aren't really adaptations of Resident Evil in any meaningful way. They're action movies with monsters, basically.
Yeah.
And this looks like it's actually trying to get some of that vibe and feel that the games have, which is, interesting. And I mean, the batting average for video game movies is still so low that this only has to be competent to be one of the better ones ever made still.
True.
So, I mean, I think it has a chance to be a lot of fun. I wish it wasn't coming out till October, just because I wish they put horror movies in October again.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I missed that too. And yeah, I look, I really really liked Barbarian. And I thought Weapons was really really solid. I hope this is the movie that breaks Zach Kreger of his thing of needing to stop the story and restart it every 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I need him to unlearn that right away because that's maybe the worst thing about his horror movies to me. But this is going to be, I think, an interesting expansion of the thing that he does. I think he's really, really good at domestic fears. I think it really captures the primordial terror of like the darkness of basements and what's on the other side of that closed door and things like that. I think he's really, really proven himself to have a facility with that. And there is obviously certainly a set piece set in a domestic home that has been abandoned, or at least seems to be, at least based on the trailer. But this definitely looks like we're going to a few more places and doing a few more things. And I'm really curious to see what he does with an IP like this, with a bit more money, with a bit more of that. I won't say freedom because you're making a Resident Evil movie, and there's definitely a lot more fingers in that pie. But I don't know. I like all of the things that Resident Evil movies have been. I think those Mila Jovovich movies are really fun. I agree with you, Caleb. Mila Jovovich starts and ends multiple installments naked. And I think there's something so vivaciously there's such a joie de vivre about like, isn't Mila Jovovich so fucking hot? And she is.
Has a man ever loved his wife in movies more? Like he just wants the world to know how fucking hot and awesome she is at all times.
Either
And it's
him or Rob
it's a
Zombie.
great pairing.
Yeah, but Paula W.S. Anderson has the made the better match, perhaps. But yeah, no, I'm really curious about this. This is the movie I'm most excited about for September, certainly, and maybe through the rest of the year. But I think that speaks to 2026 more than it speaks to Resident Evil. But yeah, let's move on to the final weekend of September. First, we've got Heart of the Beast. It's a David Ayer directed Brad Pitt war movie about a dog. So that's going to be a no from me, dog. So Kayla, that's a no.
That's oh god! Within like 3 seconds of this trailer starting, I was ready to nope out of it. The only David Ayer movie I have kind of liked was End of Watch, and I think he was just the producer on that, right? Like, it's what retire already? Why? How does this guy keep getting rained to do this?
I don't know, but yeah, he directed End of Watch.
Yeah,
oh, he did.
I watched
Okay.
the trailer for this movie about 2 hours ago, and until you said Brad Pitt, I couldn't remember what Heart of the Beast was. It's like what was that? I don't remember until you said, "Oh, it's a Dumb Milk movie with the dog."
Yeah, it's a title that
Yeah,
sounds like something else.
yeah.
Yeah.
It. No, this is a no for me.
Yeah,
Hard no.
fair enough. How about DreamWorks' Forgotten Island, the next movie from the Puss in Boots: The Last Wish directors, about like two Filipino girls who are celebrating like their last summer together before one of them goes to America for college, and they get sucked into this kind of fantasy island place, alternate dimension. Brian, how are you feeling about this?
I I'm having a lot of faith in who the directors are.
Hmm.
That is kind of carrying me between over not being real sold on the premise. And I'm also very confused why the movie is set in like the 90s and like when they're in school is becoming friends. It's like it's in the 90s for some reason. And like they
Because
graduate
that's when the
around.
writers were in school.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, why is this animated film about characters my age when they were teenagers? I don't understand. But I mean, the animation looks pretty good. Not, oh my god, it blew my socks off, but pretty good. And Puss in Boots:
Yeah.
The Last Wish was really good.
Yeah.
Really,
Mhm.
really good movie.
Yeah.
Which is enough to make me not dismiss this out of hand, even though, ooh, it's a mystical island where they're going to forget each other. Can the power of friendship keep them together?
I
Which,
I, I think it
okay.
might.
Yeah, I'm suspecting that, yes, at the end of the movie, one of them will be, remember who you are, or something to that effect.
Oh, of course, and then you can tell the whoever cut the trailer, but not just the trailer, because the color scheme of this too is very much trying to ride the K-pop Demon Hunters wave as well. There's
Yeah.
a lot in this that looks as reminiscent of that as of Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, which I don't have a problem with that, and the island looks very very poppy and colorful and fun. And I want to congratulate the furries right now who are just living in like peak times for representation in cinema,
Hmm.
because there's like a full on furry character in this who switches at various points
Yeah.
between
Yeah, he's like a were dog voiced by Dave Franco.
right,
No,
right.
he's really taken off. Again, this was paneled at Comic-Con, and I reported from that panel, and Dave Franco was
Oh,
very excited that furries are loving his character, which was really sweet. But yeah, no, I loved Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. I was not gonna see it because I haven't seen a Shrek related movie in more than a decade before that. I think I stopped after Shrek 2. But Puss in Boots,
good place to stop.
yeah, yeah.
Could have
But
even stopped after Shrek.
well, fair enough. But I heard such good things about Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, and I saw it, and it was really good. But this new one. It's giving me like it. I agree. I don't think that this movie is copying K-pop Demon Hunters because they were obviously in the mix at the same time of just coming out of that post into the Spider Verse
Hmm.
melange of influences. But it's really giving overstimulating in a way that I
Uh,
am not excited about. I think you've really got to like toe that line very carefully. I think Into the Spider Verse falls on the right side of it, and Puss in Boots: Last Wish does. But stuff like this and K-pop Demon Hunters, I'm like, it's a little too much. My eyes are gonna explode, and I'm not really that excited about the prospect of that.
Yeah. Which I will say, to be fair, both Puss in Boots movies are good.
that's
Okay,
true. The first
really?
one just
They're the
isn't like
best.
a revelation in animation style. It just looks like
Right,
a
but
Shrek movie,
it is a
basically.
good
Yeah,
movie though.
yeah, it
They are
is.
the
Yeah.
best movies in the Shrek franchise by an order of magnitude.
Okay, that is good
Yeah,
to know
probably.
because I've never considered watching the first one even. Sorry, Caleb, were you saying something?
No, I said yeah, probably that's true. Yeah, I think
Okay.
they are the best Shrek movies.
Huh. The more you know. And we are closing out the wide releases question mark of September with another A24 movie. We're talking about Prime Time. It's about Robert Pattinson as Chris Hansen, about the making of To Catch a Predator, or at least the behind the scenes. I don't know if this is going wide on the 25th. It's been hard for me to parse that, but it's been going wide at some point. Caleb, are you going to see Prime Time?
I might. The director is a mystery to me, but Robert Pattinson tends to make interesting choices and is always an engaging actor to watch, especially where he's able to like lean into kind of a slimy role like this one, as he's been doing quite a lot in recent years.
Mhm.
I will probably see this. I don't. Whether I go out to theaters depends on on the buzz I hear, but I'm interested. What about you, Brian?
Yeah, I think it looked okay from the trailer. They are very much leaning into the idea that Chris Hansen is a complete psychopath, which is fun.
Fair, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm just saying they're clearly that this is not a flattering biopic of Chris Hansen during the To Catch a Predator years.
Mhm. Yeah, sorry.
It's weird to think that show was a huge hit.
Mhm.
What, a decade or so ago, a little over a decade ago now.
I mean, this
And
movie
Was
set in
it was longer
06.
ago than that, right?
Was it? Time is fake.
That
It started in
That's-
2004, ran at 07.
Wow. is it
22
that
years
old?
ago. Yeah.
Wow. But I mean, it was a massive cultural hit. And when you stop and think about what it was,
yeah.
that's really strange.
I mean, talk about like, taking a pop culture phenomenon as an assessment of like where America is at culturally and morally, that like a show about like voyeuristically watching luring of sexual predators on children would be like the number one thing in America for that hour. It would be like, what is going on here? Even, I don't know, it always seemed like way too gross and way too leering and voyeuristic, and that maybe, I guess it really predicted like what true crime would become in the following decades too.
Well, sorry. Well, I was gonna say, you've triggered one of my trap cards. Basically, like, I have a little rant about true crime. Just like there is a lot of really gross, icky stuff about true crime, and especially the way that it's being handled right now by podcasts who don't really have journalistic integrity or standards. But there's this thing where, I think every 15 years or so, true crime kind of pops up and people are like, oh, how can people be interested in true crime? And I'm like, no, true crime has been part of the human experience from the beginning of writing, basically. How many people read Vincent Bugliosi's Helter Skelter when it came out? I think humans often have this morbid fascination with the people who do awful things, and I think it is maybe liberating for a lot of people to like think about those people in a way that is like safe, and you're like, I am at home and I'm dipping a little toe into the psyche of this person, but I can then run away and go make cookies and everything is fine, and I am normal. But yeah, no, I think it's a completely normal human compulsion to be interested in that kind of thing. But it is a very dark thing to become such a major like network hit.
And to make the act of supposedly enacting justice or safety in apprehending these people, to turn that into a matter of like morbid spectacle, that to me feels substantially different too from like, oh, we're doing a podcast about a murderer from 30 years ago kind of thing. Or even a recent, like, I mean, maybe it is the ones that are doing it on active subjects and attempting to do like, their own research. They get into a lot of hot water on wrongly accusing people and things like that. But yeah, the To Catch a Predator project, very fascinating in itself, and in Chris Hansen's persona, which yeah, I mean, it's good movie fodder, I think.
And it's like, I don't really care for modern true crime stories. It's not a genre that interests me, but then I think, Goodfellas is one of my favorite movies of all time. I've read the Wise Guy book that it's based on. I've read another book about the Lufthansa heist, and it's like, okay, so I just like a certain kind of true crime, apparently.
Yeah.
Sure.
And it's not the serial killer, it's the mobster, I guess, you know?
Yeah. And, I think it's a totally normal and totally cool to like true crime, but like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
This movie looks unhinged in a good way, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing. And Robert Pattinson making great choices. I thought so I saw the dubbed version of The Boy and the Heron that he did the voice of the Heron, and I think that is
Oh,
a
right.
totally unhinged bonkers series of choices that he's making, and I like a
Uh-huh.
lot of the stuff that he's been doing in general. I don't think I'll see this one because I've never seen a second of To Catch a Predator. I've only seen the parodies of To Catch a Predator. Um
The
and I
South
just
Park episodes.
yeah, stuff like that. But so I have no kind of inherent interest in the subject matter. But good for Robert Pattinson, I guess. But that does bring us to the end of the month. We are going to do a little bit of round robin, pick some minor limited and or streaming releases to talk about. There's quite a bit coming out in this arena in September, and almost none of it looks that good. But is there something that's calling out to you, Brian?
I agree with you, not much looks particularly good. It's a mix of straight to streaming stuff and stuff that looks like they thought were going to be Oscar plays when they
Yeah.
put them
Yeah.
in development, and by the time they finished the movie, like, oh, that's not no.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
I do think April X looks like it might be fun. Although I think it's been sitting on the shelf for a while, so that's probably not a good sign.
Mm.
Well, okay, so I don't know. That's actually the one that I wanted to bring to the table too.
Is it?
Um,
Okay, well,
yeah, so April X,
sorry, I
it's
stole yours.
no, that is perfectly fine. It is a uh sci-fi movie about like something about like a guy looking for his sister or something. It's set in the near future. It's like a post-Soviet city thing. Um, it would not be getting anything close to the attention that it's getting if it didn't star Connor Story from Heated Rivalry.
Uh-huh.
It is a movie that he shot obviously before Heated Rivalry and something before Heated Rivalry blew up. I think it's very possible that this is like a super duper tiny movie that wasn't so much shelved as much as nobody was paying attention to it, and now they are. Um, I'm I don't think it looks good, but I think it looks like they're stretching their budget in interesting ways, and I want to see what they do with their sparse means, and that's the thing that I'm curious about with April X. Um, but yeah, Caleb, what about you?
I can't say I was excited for any of the trailers I looked at, and I sort of gave up after I don't know 7 or 8 of them trying to find something because the hooks just weren't getting me. Um, I am abstractly interested in the Master and Margarita. It'll be my excuse to finally read that novel, which I
Mhm.
have been meaning to over the years many times. I guess that one by default. The trailer looked pretty decent, and the rest of these, yeah, just a lot of a lot of rah rah thrillers, and like Go America political thrillers that I couldn't be less interested in,
Mhm.
like the Mayday Apple TV thing, Ryan Reynolds doing his Ryan Reynolds thing.
Oh yeah, no, no, no.
um and yeah, most of the Oscar bait melodramas were just not hooking me at all. And yeah, I mean, y'all know I'm an easy mark for like a tearjerker Oscar bait melodrama of in the Hamnet mold or something. But those weren't doing it for me either. Did anything really grab you, Brennan?
Yeah, I mean the fact that April X is the one that I wanted to bring to the table, I think speaks to the fact that everything else is not interesting. Um, but I will say the one thing that interests me outside of the fact of the movie is that so as we talked about earlier, we're getting that Alan Ritchson movie Runner. We are also
Yep.
getting
Uh
a
huh.
Gal Gadot Prime Video thriller action thing called The Runner.
Yeah, I literally had to double check that you hadn't put the title wrong when I looked at the document. Like, wait, didn't we? Wasn't that up there in wide releases?
Yeah, no, it's just such a weird choice.
Has anyone
It seems like one of them would have blanked.
Yeah, and I mean, has anybody's star like fallen faster than Gal Gadot's in the years since Wonder Woman in terms of the entire world learning she cannot act to save her life,
Yeah.
and keeps being foisted upon us in various parts. Like she was good in Wonder Woman because
that's
the
the
part
thing that
was the part
baffles
was
me
well
is-
cast.
Yeah,
Like-
she's really good in Wonder Woman. She was not good, but perfectly acceptable in her role in the Fast and Furious movies.
Mm-hmm.
Sure,
And it's like, which I mean, those aren't acting showcases, obviously, but like there was nothing in her filmography up until like the pandemic that made me think this woman's going to give some of the worst performances of the 2020s.
Yeah, no,
It's like, where did this come from her? Like, she lost her talent when she sang Imagine.
oh God, yeah, maybe something
It's punishment
shifted.
from the gods.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah, no, I think you're right. That is such a quick that star just burst. And yeah, no, she has instantly been relegated to the streaming graveyard. Like she was in a Netflix movie, a spy movie called Heart of Stone that
God, yeah, I saw that.
Oh, you saw that? I was gonna say, I was like, that might
of
just
it.
be a thumbnail that if you click on it, it goes nowhere. I will never know.
It's too early to have been AI generated, but it has like all the hallmarks of like these, awful AI generated YouTube movies that people put together, pastiches of popular Netflix stuff.
Oh God. But yeah, I think that's gonna do it for September. Movies.
Movie
Now
like
more than ever.
substances.
Yeah, it's chilling. But September usually is kind of a wasteland for things.
Yeah, it's usually a mix of, like I said, Oscar movies that aren't going to compete for Oscars
Yeah.
and blockbusters that aren't going to bust the block.
Yep. And I think
Like,
that's
let's
exactly
just
what we
dump
have here.
everything in September.
Although, as you pointed out, Brian, I do think that we are getting horror film creep because people don't want to put horror movies out on Halloween weekend because on November 1st they just kind of drop off most of the time.
Yeah, I find it weird that we don't get more that are in like mid-October, so they have like
Yeah.
the 2 weeks leading up to Halloween or something. But it's like more and more horror has moved to summer and September in the last decade or so.
Yeah,
And spring. There's so much spring horror too now.
Yeah, yeah, and even like winter now. It's like they specifically avoid October now. It's like, okay, we'll start putting them out again in December.
Yeah, that's so wild. Like,
October.
is it just that they assume that somebody's going to put something big in October and then just nobody does it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway,
Actually, it goes back longer than that because like all of the God, what the hell? Dimension Films Halloween movies
yeah.
pretty much all came out in summer.
Yeah, Halloween H2O was like a June movie, I think.
Yeah, and
Which
I
is
think
just
one of them,
stupid.
I think Resurrection was an August movie, and it's like, why?
Yeah, if we were trying to parse the decisions of studios, we will be here all night. I do think we need to wrap
This is true,
up,
yes.
but let's point people to where they can find you online and anything you're working on. Caleb, do you have anything you want to promote today?
You can find all the games I design at sojournrpg.com, and you can follow me at Caleb Wimble on Letterboxd, on Blue Sky, even on Instagram these days. I'm actually using it a little more than I typically do, but yeah, hit me up.
Excellent. How about you, Brian?
You can find me on most social media, including Letterboxd at Farwell3D. That's about all I got.
Great. You can also find me on Letterboxd, and you can find me on a bajillion socials. I'm on Blue Sky and Threads and Instagram at It's Raining Brens. You can find more episodes of this show and my horror side show, Bride of Alternate Ending, on alternateending.com. And catching you next week on this feed, you will be hearing, I believe, once again from Mandy Albert with a new episode of Your Movie Rocks. But until then, bye!